Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so Attack on Titan chapter 107 is out, and yo, dude, this was a mindfuck of a chapter. I mean, seriously, so much happened in this chapter alone. Like, seriously, so much happened in this chapter that you kind of think that what happened in this chapter could have been spread out between like 2 or 3 chapters at most. And in all honesty, if I'm being serious, I kind of wish it would have been. Simply because of the fact, like, near the later half of the chapter, like, near the ending of the chapter, we jumped from scene to scene, from reveal to reveal so fast that's like, yo, it's a little disorienting. Like we're not really focusing on exactly what's going on in each scene. We're getting little glimpses of it, and then we're kind of to the next scene right away. It's like, yo, I kind of slow down a little bit. It's a little hard to understand exactly what's going on, connecting all the shit that's happening now to what happened in the beginning of the chapter. Like, seriously, I just kind of wish that we could have spread it out between 2 or 3 chapters. Had those chapters basically elaborate more on exactly what happened in those quick scenes that we got. Focus a little bit more on that. So I could have, so it could have calmed down. I'd be able to process it a little faster. Because in order to understand exactly what happened in this chapter, I had to read it twice. And even after I read it twice, I was still a little bit confused because the website I read it on wasn't the best, didn't have the best translation, and the text was a little bit hard to see. But anyway, yeah, I kind of just wish everything that happened in this chapter would slow down a little bit and spread out between a few more chapters. Simply so that we can, have the time to digest all the information, catch our breath after each reveal, and basically, take the time to basically understand basically exactly what's going on. And, speaking of things going too fast in this chapter, let's just jump right into the flashback we got. So we're basically continuing the flashback from last month's chapter, and we actually get to see that right away. We're meeting up with this representative from this country called, I think, Hizaru, something like that. It's basically this manga's version of Japan, which is what I'm going to call it for the rest of the chapter. But anyway, we're meeting with a representative from Japan, who I believe is the same woman we saw during the 4-year time skip arc when we were focused on Marley, and we saw that there was a woman who was like whose country was an ally to Marley, who wasn't treating the Eldians like shit like everyone else was, and she was kind of like nice to them. I think this is that same woman. Anyway, we meet up with her, and literally like within 2 pages of meeting her, we find out that Mikasa is not only like, we knew something was up with Mikasa's lineage. We knew that something was up with her. Like, she had some kind of special lineage about her, and that's the reason why her family was killed off. But what we find out in this chapter that she's actually like, her lineage actually comes from these people from basically this version of Japan. And not only that, we find out that she is possibly, actually no, I think they confirm in the chapter that she's actually a descendant of the country's shogun from 100 years ago. So not only do we find out that Mikasa is basically Japanese in this chapter, we also find out that she's possibly royalty. And this happens in like 2 minutes, like in 2 pages of each other. So yeah, we basically just told the story of little orphan Mikasa and how she was basically went from being an orphan to royalty within like 2 pages of each other. And now that I'm thinking about it, if she actually is royalty, if she actually is like a member of the like shogun family from that country, why the fuck did they let her go into the front lines after they found this out and during like the invasion of Marley? You think she would be the last one they actually let out there fighting with them, especially the fact that there was multiple times where she almost died during that fight. So anyway, after we found out that bombshell, we find out that she actually was in contact with Zeke, and he actually got her to actually join up with them, simply because of the fact that he promised her the resources or like a certain material that only grows on Paradise Island, and that this material is apparently worth more than gold. So yeah, all the people from Japan in this manga is basically money hungry, because as soon as she starts talking about it in this chapter, when she's having a meeting with the Survey Corps, she starts drooling left and right. Like one of her own like military guards had to give her a fucking handkerchief to wipe the drool off with her before she can get back to the actual serious talks. And you know what? Speaking of Zeke, we actually find out in this chapter the reason why he actually betrayed Grisha and his mother, like back in the past when he was like 7, when he betrayed them and sold them out to the Marleyan military. And that's basically because of the fact that he was actually listening in on them one day, and he found out that the Marleyan military, or the higher ups, actually found out about the resistance group and actually were about to attack them. And he realizes that if they did attack, they would bring the hammer down on not only Grisha, his mom, but also on Zeke and his grandparents, as well as the whole resistance group. So in order to protect his grandparents himself and actually keep the hope of the resistance group's, main goal alive, which was basically him inheriting the Founder Titan abilities because he's of royal blood, he betrayed his parents, basically sent them to their deaths, and then kept going on in the military. But yeah, Zeke's basically been playing the long con since like he was 7 years old at this point. But I think after we found out the fact that he actually was the head of this like this secondary resistance group inside Marley, and the fact that he actually joined up with them at the end of the Marley invasion, I think we all kind of figured at this point that he wasn't, fully against them. Like, he didn't betray his parents without like, some kind of plan in mind in order to actually help out the resistance group later on in like his life. Then we get another sad reminder that yeah, Sasha's dead. We actually check up with her at her funeral or at her gravesite, where Mikasa's just kind of just hanging out, just sitting behind a grave for some reason. Anyway, we see this guy, I believe his name was Nicolo, the guy we actually saw feeding them in the previous chapter's flashback. We see him basically trying to get there to basically pay his respects to Sasha. Everyone, this one soldier basically coming at him, telling him to get out of there. Jean and Connie actually defend him, let him visit Sasha's grave. He says he's sorry, he asks what happens. And then he apologizes to Connie and asks him how he's doing. And it seems like in the scene they're implying that Connie and Sasha might have had like a thing. I don't know. I mean, he says that the two of them are kind of like twins, and that he says that her death kind of felt like he lost half of himself. Now, either they could be basically what's on the surface right here. They were best friends. They were like brother and sister. That could be what they were saying. Like what's on the surface could be the actual implication, or it could be like I said that maybe they're implying that him and Sasha were kind of a thing. It's up in the air. You can read it. They don't really go too much into it. It's not that important. It's just, a little sad scene for us to see about Sasha's death one last time. Yeah, and we also get to see her family, her dad, her mom, I guess, and her little brother. They're paying their respects. Nicolo actually comes up to them and says, hey, I fed your daughter for a little bit. I'd be honored to feed you guys as well in memory of her. They accept a deal, and that's kind of the end of the scene right there. After this is basically when the chapter starts going really fast and jumping from scene to scene and actually starting to confuse me a little bit. Alright, so we check in with basically the resistance group that was working with Zeke. They basically stole a whole bunch of vials that turned people into Titans from the Marlesians, brought them to the Survey Corps in order for them to analyze them and try to find a way to basically reproduce them so they can actually basically make more Titans themselves, I guess. And during that scene, the Survey Corps takes them hostage. It's like, hey, listen, we don't want to betray you guys because, we built this 4-year relationship with you guys, but we don't know if we could trust Zeke, and this is the only way to actually ensure that we can actually keep him under wraps and actually, in our control, is by having you guys as hostages so that he won't do anything against us out of fear for your safety. Which, of course, they understand, but at the same time, they're like, yo, dude, I mean, what the fuck? After 4 years, really? You don't trust us? And, you kind of got to side with them at this point. You're like, hey, it's kind of fucked up that you're doing this. Then we check in with Zeke, and we see that basically Levy's leading him into a forest where he's actually going to be held for the remainder of his time there on Paradise Island, which is basically, I guess their reasoning is that, all right, we can't keep you in a cell because if you want to, you can break out of it anytime you want to. And this way, if we keep you in the forest, you're secluded from everyone else. There's no danger of you attacking a village or anyone else. And if you're here with all of these tall ass trees around you, plenty of space for us to use our 3D maneuver gear to kill you if we want to, or if you try to go on a rampage and actually betray us. So yeah, it's a smart move tactically. Still, it's kind of fucked up again. Like I said, he's here to help you guys. But I can understand with all their history, they wouldn't actually, flat out trust them. Then we check in on Gabby and Falco, who's actually being held captive after Zeke actually mentions them when he's talking to Levy. And we see that Gabby's faking like some kind of stomach pain. A soldier actually comes in with it. He basically comes in there worried about her to like basically check on her to see if she's okay. She whacks him with a fucking log or like a plank out of nowhere. I don't even know where the fuck that came from. She whacks him in the head with it, knocks him out, then flattens his head with it. Her and Falco escape. And then this whole scene is basically just her showing that she is on a mental degrade on a fast track. Like she's very quickly like going crazy to the point where I'm actually worried about whether or not Falco's going to make it out this alive, because we're starting to see that he's starting to sympathize more and more with them, and she's not having it. And then after that quick scene, we jump into the ending, which before I talk about the ending, I want to jump back to the plan that actually Zeke came up with that he talked about with that lady from Japan. So basically what Zeke's plan is that he wants the Japanese country to actually help Paradise Island out to catch up with the rest of the world in both military and political stance. But in order to do that, as they say in the chapter, since Paradise Island is about like 100 years behind the rest of the world, it will take about 50 years in order to catch them up with both of those factors. So in order to make sure that Marley won't invade them within that 50 years, they need to use the founder Titan's ability in order to keep them at bay. So Zeke's real plan is basically he's going to come to Paradise Island, he's going to pass on his abilities to someone else with royal blood, aka Historia, and then she's going to use that ability to basically keep Marley away as like a deterrent. The only problem is they need 50 years, and once you gain Titan abilities, you can only live for about 13 more years. So in order to actually keep Marley at bay long enough for him to, enact her plan, Historia will have to give birth to the next heir, and then she'll have to, after the 13 years, pass on the abilities to her child. So basically, it's going to continue the process over and over again from what Historia's family used to be doing. And Historia, she agrees to it. Like, she is visibly shaken by this idea, as we can see in the chapter. But she initially agrees to it. She's like, hey, if this is what I have to do in order to protect my people, if I have to become basically livestock, breeding livestock in order to keep these other people at bay from killing my citizens, I will do it. As queen, I will do that. Aaron, on the other hand, is not okay with this at all. He basically jumps up right in the middle of the meeting. He's like, no, fuck that. But yeah, the Japanese lady basically says, hey, well, we got time. We have a few more years left before, Zeke's tenure as a time shifter ends. We have that much time to basically come up with a new plan. And this is when we actually end the flashback and we check in with Aaron inside his jail cell, which will actually start the chapter off with Hanji basically coming there to like check up on him and kind of as a friend figure out what the fuck's going on with his head and why he basically invaded Marley early on before they actually were ready to. And this is when she starts questioning, like, hey, are you really that delusional? Like, are you really that fucked up in the head? Like, I thought we were on the same page here. Do you not care about what's going on with his story anymore? And Aaron basically tells her, hey, fuck off. Because you guys gonna come up with another plan, so I had to act. And this is when we find out that Aaron, basically the reason why he went rogue and basically betrayed everyone else in order to, basically force them to attack Marley and gain the Warhammer Titan abilities and basically try to, like, I don't know exactly what his plan was, but basically go full terrorist mode, is because he's trying to protect, it seems like he's trying to protect Historia from going down the same route her family went through for generations. And as we find out at the end of the chapter, the big reveal, it seems like it didn't work, because as we find out at the end of the chapter, Historia actually is pregnant. Now, we don't know exactly who the father is. I don't think that's really important. It could possibly be that guy we see at the end of the chapter checking up on her and basically telling her to go back inside because it's not safe for her to be out there. But yeah, the plan seems not that there was no backup plan developed in order to like basically keep her from going down this route. So seemingly, as of right now, the plan is for her to basically take on Zeke's powers. I don't know how she's gonna get the Fountain of Time powers from Aaron. Possibly she's gonna have to eat him. I don't know, or maybe just touch him. I don't know. But anyway, she is gonna have to inherit Zeke's abilities, and then in 13 years, she's gonna have to pass on her abilities to her child. Yeah, like I said, this was a mindfuck of a chapter, especially at the ending with so many things revealed so fast. And you know what? I'm actually, like I said, even though I'm complaining a little bit about the fact that it was kind of so quickly revealed and there wasn't like much development for all these things. Oh, by the way, we actually did check on with Reiner and the other two time shifters for a little bit, just to see that they're awake, and then we quickly went to the next scene. But anyway, even though we didn't get to see much like development in these scenes, the chapter was actually pretty good. It actually dropped a lot of bombshells. I'm actually real excited after this chapter to see what happens next month. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Comment down below your thoughts and theories, and I'll catch you guys later. Actually, wait, before I actually end the video, I do want to mention the reason why I didn't upload a Black Clover review is because the chapter this week, which is, nothing really happened in the chapter. I mean, I could basically sum up the entire chapter in a few sentences. Most of the Black Bull members, besides Gouch and Noel and Yami, they all met up. They regain their mana and are heading onto the capital basically to save Gouch and help fight off against the elves. That's pretty much all that happened in the chapter. With the most two surprising things that happened in the chapter being that Asa knows Henry, and that Henry can not only change the Black Wolf headquarters into like a giant mecha, but also into a vehicle for him to transport them to the capital. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all that happened in the chapter. So I decided to skip this week's chapter in order to use this weekend in order to record other videos that I'm going to sprinkle out throughout the week. Basically, other video ideas I had that I actually want to do for a while now, and I'm going to use these this time as a chance to, basically record them, get them out to you guys, and, see if you like them. If you like them, there'll be a lot more videos like them in the future. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Comment down below your thoughts and theories, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.